India 2021 will help forge enormous global engagement with the Indian defense industry in the form of partnership and investment, paving the path for a transformation of the world's largest democracy into the world's most powerful defense economy.
Hello and welcome to our special broadcast of the 13th Aero India 2021. I'm Shireen Bhan. Atmanirbhar and Make in India are the key buzzwords at the Yelahanka Air Force Base in Bengaluru as companies showcase cutting-edge technologies in aerospace. The event is the first international air show in a post-COVID world. Over 500 Indian and 78 foreign companies are in attendance. The government has signed a contract worth 48,000 crore rupees with state-run Hindustan Aeronautics Limited to procure 83 Tejas light combat aircraft. We caught up with R. Madhavan, the chairman and managing director of HAL, to understand the contours of the contract and also get a sense of the percentage of equipment that will be procured indigenously. Take a look.
The operations have begun to the extent that we have started the sub-assembly work there. And this is basically an enhancement of the existing facility so that we can make 16 aircrafts instead of the 8 aircrafts that we are now presently making per year.
That's right. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of indigenization here. Currently, it's at 50%. You said it would go up to 65%. What is the timeline like?
No, timeline is depending on the speed at which the Indian industries come up with the replacements for the foreign equipment. So we expect that it can be anywhere between the 20th aircraft to 40th aircraft that we should be able to scale up the indigenous content to about 65%.
Okay, after the 20th aircraft?
It will start around 20th aircraft and it will continue till the 40th aircraft that it will...
The engines being currently used will be from GE. Is there any transfer of technology proposed?
No, there is no transfer of technology proposed as of now, and it will continue to be from GE.
Okay, for all of the 83 aircraft?
For all of the 83 aircraft.
Okay. So there's also, you know, we're also looking forward to the LCH order. What is the status of that? Will that be signed here as well?
No, it won't be signed here, but it is in the advanced stages. The contract terms and conditions have been agreed to, and it has to go for the CCS sanction. So we hope that that also comes before this financial year, so that we can start the work of delivering the remaining. Though we have started the work of producing the aircraft structures, and we will be delivering about 3 of them this year. Once the contract comes in place, then we can start delivery of the rest of the aircraft.
What is the kind of procurement you're looking at going forward after this deal? You know, what are some of the other important contracts that we can look forward to?
So we are looking at, first of all, the LUH orders, now which has IOC has been given by Air Force, and Army also is very much due now. So we look at that part of it. Then the HTT contract is in the process, so that will come for initially for 70 numbers. So these are the 2 things that we are looking at majorly.
Well, that's the chairman of HAL on the order book and plans going ahead. Let's now take a look at some of the defense platforms that are currently being developed in India. DRDO, which is the country's premier research and development organization, has put on display prototypes of some of its indigenously developed futuristic creations. Nabinita Radhakrishnan of the DRDO walks us through the products being showcased.
This is our most ambitious program, which is the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. This represents a generational change. It's going to be a huge quantum jump in technologies, because number one, we switch from a single engine aircraft to a twin engine aircraft.
And this is the first?
This is the first of the twin engine development which we are taking up. Then there's going to be major features like supersonic cruise, stealth built into it, a whole host of sensors. It will be carrying, again, the next generation weapons, including beyond visual range, air-to-air missiles with longer range. And it will have every technical feature which is available at present with today's best of them.
This is actually going to be an advancement over what we already have, even the LCA Mark 1 that we signed. When is this expected to be inducted into
Okay, so we have just taken on the project, and at the moment the design is more or less frozen.
Okay.
So it will go into the realization stage and then a long drawn evaluation phase.
Okay.
So it's going to take at least about 8 years or so by the time it completes its development cycle. Because as you are aware, this is being manned aircrafts. There is a whole huge gamut of tests which we have to run. And of
So
course,
8 years at a minimum.
should take.
All right, but let's move here and let's talk about the Mark II, the LCA Mark II. In fact, the LCA Mark I, we of course saw that there was a big contract signed and was given to HAL. This is an advancement over the Mark I, ma'am. Can you just tell us how this is better than the LCA Mark I?
So the most important feature is that we are now going with the improved engine. Well, that was a 404 engine. This is now we are going in with a 414 engine.
Okay.
And we are again going in for improvements in some of its features in terms of, I think, the length and all the basic dimensional details will also be different. This is again completed its design phase.
Right.
The metal cutting is started, and we hope there will be a rollout of this by 2022.
Okay. Moving on, of course, there's this missile here. What is the name of this, ma'am?
This is the Nirbhay, which is our subsonic cruise missile, capable of about 1,000 kilometers of range. And this has passed through its development cycle, and we have already done a number of trials and tests on it, and it is ready for going into the final phase and getting accepted by the users. One important factor of the combat aircraft is the engine.
Right.
And as you know, the Kaveri engine has been in development for some time. So one factor I'd like to explain to you all is that the Kaveri engine, a combat aircraft's engine, actually represents a pinnacle of technology complexity, which is why we have very few countries in the world who have actually developed their engine. And there are about half a dozen of them, or 4 or 5 of them. And India is aiming to be the next. We have achieved substantial success in the Kaveri program, and we have the last mile to achieve in terms of technological excellence in it. We are looking for collaboration for this to get to the last mile, and after which we will come into, we will fit it into our LCA and then carry
So
on trials.
engine technology so far, India has been a little behind. Then how is DRDO looking to boost, the engine manufacturing, engine development here in India? You're setting up a separate kind of a hub as well for engine development.
So that is one of our ambitions, that basically GTRE as a lab is the only one in the country which has really been working on engine development. Engine development requires manufacturing capability. It also requires test and evaluation capability. So there was a dearth of both of it in the country, and we have had to build up our own capability for this. So we have tied up with Indian industry to a great extent, but there are certain number of systems and some amount of machining and casting, etc., which has to be done abroad.
Okay.
We are hoping to convince the government that it is worthwhile setting up both the manufacturing, repair and overhaul hub to look after the interests of both military engines as well as civilian engines.
Well, that's what the DRDO has lined up in terms of product pipeline. In what comes the first for a private entity, the Tata Group will be developing and manufacturing a full-grade military aircraft in India. So far, military aircraft have been the domain of state-owned HAL alone. We caught up with Sukaran Singh, the managing director of Tata Advanced Systems. Singh said the private sector needed to step up when it comes to military aircraft manufacturing in India. He's also called on the government to speed up the processing time for clearing orders. Take a look.
Tata Advanced has a lot of plans under the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme that the government has been pushing, and of course Tata is now looking to make the first military grade aircraft here in the country for a private entity. It's the first in India. Tell us a little bit about that. Have you received the technology from Germany already?
Yes, so I must say that Tata Advanced Systems, which is 100% Tata Sons company, has actually taken steps to not just make in India, but also to design in India and give India and the Indian military strategic control over technology. I think this is a big gap in India, and the private sector needs to step up and do its bit. One of the examples is where we have actually bought the technology to build high-altitude aircraft, jet aircraft, out of a country in Europe. And we will manufacture it in India and be able to offer it for surveillance aircraft for Indian military customers or abroad, or exported abroad.
But since Tata will be the first private entity in India to potentially develop a full military grade aircraft, like I said before, when can we expect that? Has work begun on it?
Yeah.
Where is it going to happen?
No, it's the aircraft is flying right now. I mean, I think you're talking of the one that the high altitude
Yes,
aircraft
yes,
that Tatas
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
It's flying right now. There are some regulatory issues where it needs to actually be, as a private entity, to be allowed to be brought into India and to continue to do the development flights. So because this is the first time that a private company is doing this,
Right.
we also have to crack the threshold of regulation in India.
Absolutely.
And on merit, we have gone to the government and they have been responsive.
Okay.
But
So
what
you're
we
still
need
waiting for that approval?
some regulatory approvals to come through. Yeah.
But and what about the order then for this particular aircraft?
Well, I think that's the whole point, that we actually India needs to actually absorb this technology and develop these technologies without waiting for orders.
Okay.
And we must have a portfolio of that.
Right.
A lot of it we need to actually have orders for, but we must also take these strategic steps. So this is on that part of it. So I'm not suggesting, of course, we have I think the Ministry of Defense should fasten up the order process.
Well, that is a long-standing demand of industry speed up the order process. That's Sukaran Singh of Tata Advanced. It's time now for us to slip into a short break, but up next, the Kalyani Group bets bigs on drones. Baba Kalyani calls it future of warfare. That and more when we return. Well, the Indian Air Force is looking to acquire 114 combat aircraft with an estimated cost of over 1.3 lakh crore. Several Indian and foreign companies are eyeing this mega contract. While the aircraft would be made in India under the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme, foreign firms would be required to do a transfer of technology to the Indian partner. Big defense equipment makers, including Boeing and Lockheed Martin, showcased their combat weaponry at the Aero Show. Mugdha Warrior caught up with Salil Gupte, president of Boeing India, and William Blair, the vice president and chief executive of Lockheed Martin India. Let's hear them out.
This is, of course, the F-21, which is on offer for the Indian Air Force. What is the status right now?
Well, we're looking forward to the requirement coming up for the multi-role fighter aircraft, the MRFA. This is the F-21. We're offering, it's a tremendous Make in India opportunity under Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's part of a family of aircraft that are leading the world. It offers incredible capabilities. You can see the triple missile launcher adapter can put more ordnance on target than any other aircraft platform.
And you're offering this exclusively to India?
We're offering this exclusively to India. We would work with a local Indian partner, so it's very much part of the Make in India requirement as and when the requirement is formalized. It provides unmatched capability. Simply put, it flies faster, further, and stays on station longer than the competing aircraft.
But there are several others also vying for this contract for 114 jets, Boeing and others. How are you looking at the competition landscape?
Well, I mean, it's a very competitive environment. But, I think we've proven in the past on the C-130J that we'll talk about, no, 1 minute, but we are putting work in India.
We can go to the models
in advance of the requirement. So we actually have been in a partnership for over 10 years now with Tata Aerospace Limited, and it's been a tremendous partnership. So it sets us up well to position for the F-21 while, leveraging over 10 years working on the C-130J. This is the C-130J Super Hercules. It's in service, 12 aircraft with the Indian Air Force. It's truly a multi-mission aircraft, incredibly important across all missions, especially the hot eye capability that it's delivering in really critical areas that we know today.
Tell us how much of this is, made in India. There's a big made in India component in this.
Yeah.
What percentage of it is made in India?
Well, this entire tail here, the empennage as we call it, this is made in India. So every C-130J globally, not just India, is produced here in Hyderabad. And so we've produced over 136 C-130J empennages that have been delivered, and it's incredible capability. We're also over 87% indigenization. So we started just, assembling the tail here in India from imported parts. Now over 87% going up to over 95% indigenization here in India for the global requirements. So every C-130J that's delivered around the world has a tail from here in India, the empennage. Yes.
All right, so up to 95% then would be indigenized?
Yeah, we continue to invest in, our partner is Tata Advanced Systems Limited. So it's the Tata Lockheed Martin Aerostructures Limited joint venture. We celebrated our 10th anniversary last year, and we both continue to invest to increase the capability.
And let's quickly move to the MH-60R helicopter now. This is something the Indian Navy is going to get soon. When will these arrive in India?
Well, I can tell you, I mean, it's up to the US government in India in terms of the delivery timing, but middle of this year, the first helicopters will be delivered for training and getting on board with this platform. So remarkably fast, right? The agreement was signed in February, March, April of last year, and so we'll be delivering aircraft middle of this year. It is the most capable anti-surface, anti-submarine warfare platform in the world.
You mentioned about your joint venture with Tata. You know, now that FDI up to 74% is allowed in India through the automatic route, will you be looking to increase your stake in this joint venture?
Well, you know, this is actually two joint ventures. So this is from Sikorsky. We have a Sikorsky joint venture with Tata today, Tata Sikorsky Aerospace Limited. And so we've produced over 154 S-92 helicopter cabins. So they've already proven the capability, and that positions very well for the Naval Utility Helicopter requirement, the NUH. So absolutely, both for the fighter requirement and the helicopter requirement, we're absolutely committed both to our partner as well as to India for Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat is actually central to our strategy.
Salil, the US government has given approval for you to offer the F-15EX to the Indian government. What is the status of the discussions with the Defense Ministry here?
So it's quite exciting, and it is a main focus area for us, of course, here at Aero India, and we'll be going forward is that dialogue with the Indian Air Force. To this point, of course, before the license was provided, largely there were discussions and questions on a government-to-government level, but now there will be more engagement directly with Boeing on this latest F-15EX aircraft, which has been, inside this outer mold, has been completely modernized from the inside out. As the largest flight display, has incredible amount of capability that the US government has invested billions of dollars in to develop this new F-15EX. Its first flight was actually just overnight in the US, so overnight here in India, and it went well. It flew for 90 minutes in St. Louis, where the factory is for the F-15EX. And now there will be engagement with the Indian Air Force directly because that license has been provided from US government. So
several of your rivals are also vying that contract that you're looking at, from the Indian Air Force. What sets this apart? You did talk about the capabilities, but really, can this beat the other players in the market?
Well, we're very confident in this capability. Now, we're also, of course, offering the FA-18 Super Hornet Block 3. It remains in the competition. Ultimately, we're waiting to see what the requirements of the Indian Air Force are. And then once those requirements are set, then there'll be dialogue around which is the best fit for them. At the moment, though, we're now introducing this into the dialogue as well. Okay. I will say this, we're supremely confident about the capabilities of this aircraft because it is undefeated in combat, 104 to 0 losses in combat. It has never been defeated in anything it's done in the past, so we don't expect to be defeated in a competition of any kind. So we're very, very excited about this aircraft.
And you talked about the Super Hornet. Now you've been in talks with the Indian Navy also, for a contract. What is the status there then?
That discussion also continues. Now the naval requirements are being shaped, and then the value of the FA-18 Super Hornet for the Navy is that it is the US Navy's frontline carrier-based aircraft to this date.
While Boeing and Lockheed Martin on the India opportunity, drones are the next big area of focus for the Kalyani Group. Prototypes of drones manufactured by them are on display at the Aero India 2021. Chairman Baba Kalyani told my colleague Mugdha Warrier that drones will be the future of warfare.
This is the first time that the Kalyani Group is showcasing drones at Aero India. Is this a big focus area for your company, and is this the future of defense in India?
Well, the fact is this is the first time we are showcasing drones in our Aero India exhibition. But it was largely at the request of the services. They wanted drones for logistic purposes at high altitudes. And we had made this almost from scratch, designed it. And we had some trials. We still have to undergo many more trials, and they wanted us to show this in Aero India. Coming to drones, I think equipment like drones, autonomous equipment, is one of the areas where future of warfare and equipment is moving. And it's for all the services, it's not just for the Air Force, it's for everything. So it's for logistics, it's for attack or weaponized, or it's for getting reconnaissance information. But there is a lot of work going on drones, and we are. It's a big area of drones. Is itself a big area, but we are working in one area of the drones, which is.
Are you looking at any partnerships here?
No, we don't need partnerships. We can pretty much do these things on our own.